Hello, ladies. My name is Allison, and I am recently have been getting into doing freelance makeup work. I am actually mainly a hairdresser. A lot of you that are watching my video probably already know this. This is my first video ever, so please don't be too harsh. This is my first attempt, and it's a little bit awkward, so just bear with me while I try to painfully get through this first video. Anyway, I just wanted to take the time to go ahead and, before I even do any makeup tutorials or hair tutorials whatsoever, do an intro to the tools that you may be using in some of my videos along with me. These are essential brushes I think every girl should have in her makeup kit, so let's go ahead and get started with that. The first brush I have here, actually all my brushes are e.l.f. with the exclusion of one brush from Sephora, but we'll get to that. This is e.l.f.'s foundation brush. This is something that you may have probably seen already, especially if you've had your makeup done for an event at somewhere, like maybe MAC, whatever. They use this quite often. This I would not suggest to be your main and primary go-to guy for foundation application, unless maybe you have a lot of redness or problem areas where you need a heavier application. For your first brush, this can be just a tad bit streaky for an application, so if you're accustomed to using foundation brushes, or you want a heavier coverage, a full coverage foundation you're applying, or maybe concealer all over your face, I would use this guy right here. Definitely comes in handy to have in your kit if you are a freelance makeup artist. This is something you may be using quite often. Second up for foundation, this is actually my absolute favorite brush by e.l.f. This is e.l.f.'s stipple brush. You can actually read the writing on this. Kinda, sorta. But it's just like a flat top brush. Stipple brush, whatever you want to call it. But this guy right here actually gives you quite an airbrush finish, and is not a brush that I would have suspected I would ever use on my foundation, only because you would think, how is that going to give me good coverage? It's, you know, got all sorts of gaps in it, whatever. But actually, because the fibers are a little bit more loose on this particular e.l.f. stipple brush, it allows me to really pack it on in areas like on my cheeks or in my T-zone where I get a whole lot of redness. I use this guy right here, but then when I want to blend out, I totally can, and it doesn't leave any streaks on my face, nothing, and it really gets into the large pores I have on my face and kind of almost reduces those. So like I said, it gives you a really fine airbrush finish for being a brush. So I would definitely recommend this maybe if you're a first-time user using this guy right here. Next up, this guy. This is a total face brush. That is what e.l.f. calls it, their total face brush. This is a really fluffy guy. I actually use this for correcting any areas that I may have actually applied too much makeup on. Like, let's say you got like a little snicky happy with your bronzer and you kind of like really kicked it up right here when you were doing your contouring. Or I want it to blend in with my blush that I have up here on my apples of my cheeks really well, then I would use this guy. So really good for face blending or for eliminating all over shine on your face. I wouldn't suggest using this for foundation. I actually really haven't given it too much of a try for applying foundation. If you're using a powder foundation, by all means use this brush, but for liquid, this guy right here. So that's that. I actually only have 4 face brushes that I would say are my top 4 that every girl should have. There are tons of more brushes out there, don't get me wrong, but these are my top 4 favorites. Then I've got this thing right here. This is my bronzing brush, and I do use it for that. I use my bronzer on the hollows of my cheeks to contour my face right here. I do have a lovely like round face, so sometimes contouring is a must, especially for a day where I feel extra bloated. So yeah, about that. But this is something I would use like for my blush, definitely for contouring. So this is always just handy to have in general, because of the way it's angled, it makes the application process a whole lot easier for you. Yeah, so top 4 of my face brushes. Yeah, right there. And I'm not in the image. Let's back it up a bit. There we go. So those are my top 4 for face application that I would have. Your angled brush, your stippling brush, your foundation brush, and your total face fluffy brush over here on the end. For eyeshadows, eye makeup in general, I actually have 5 brushes that have become my go-to. Bam, right there. Look at these guys. They're awesome. These are my go-to brushes. I never even used brushes before I had to do an event, and it makes a huge difference. It really, really does. It takes a little getting used to, I'm not going to lie, but it looks highly unprofessional to go to a freelance makeup event and use my fingers on a client's face, and might add highly unsanitary. So, anyway, this is my first brush that I use every single day. This is what I use to apply all over my lid, or maybe on like the highlight area of my brow. This is a domed kind of shaped brush, kind of stiff, but not really. It gives me enough flexibility to where I don't feel like I'm caking the makeup on my eye, but it definitely, if I want a heavier hand somewhere on my eye, a lot of extra pigment, this is what I would use. This is another eyeshadow brush that is very common, especially for creating drama. This is an angled eyeshadow brush. Elf calls it their defining eye brush. It's just like this one that you use for your face. It's just like a mini-me. So it's just for your eyes. Eyes, not your face. This one's for your face. This one's for your eyes. But this is good for if I want to create like a really steep line going out here. If I want to use it in the C kind of shape of my eye right here. I do use it to line my eye sometimes too, but because the width, it's a little bit wider. I don't even know if you can really see that, but it's not super duper thin. So if you're not used to using this, I wouldn't use this to line my eye with, because you might get it all over the place. If I was going to line my eye, I actually would use this brush right here. For some reason, I have, unbeknownst to me, Elf calls this their concealer brush. I don't know what else this would conceal other than maybe a pimple the size of an atom molecule on your face. This thing is super duper tiny. Come to mention it, I have seen women, especially makeup artists, use a brush similar to this to cover up spots with. I don't really like it for that. I didn't feel like it got the job done. Maybe it's just the brand of this brush. I don't know. But it's perfect for lining your eye, and especially lining your brow area and filling that area in also. I absolutely love this brush for that fact. Yeah, moving on, I've got this brush right here, which another odd definition by Elf. They call it their blending brush. Let me just say that there are a lot of things that can go absolutely and horribly wrong with a blending brush. You don't want your brush to be too stiff, because then you're going to wipe off all that hard work that you just put into your eyeshadow. And if you're anybody like me, you spend about 30 minutes just on your freaking eyeshadow in the morning, you do not. The last thing you want is to take off all of that you just did. So, for that purpose, I would not suggest using this as a blending brush at all. I actually quite enjoy this dome-shaped guy right here for my crease area. It is perfect for getting up in my crease, right up in here. I really, really love it for that. But when I go to blend out, this is my one Sephora brush, guys. I use this. See how this has a fluffier, this is Sephora's number 29 blending eye brush. Way fluffier. Let me just show you in comparison. These are two types. Let me use my white face here as a background. These are two totally different types of blending brushes, both with the same name. So, like I said, you can really see where you could totally go wrong with your blending brush. this guy's going to take off way too much of what you did, and this guy seems to take off the perfect amount. You can really determine a lot to how much your force is on any brush you use, really, by how far down you hold the brush on the handle. It's just like painting. If you have, or drawing for that instance, if you have your fingers really close to the head of the brush like this, you're going to have a lot of control to that brush. If you want a lighter effect, so especially when you're using a blending brush, I would say, 3/4 of the way down is where you need to be holding this guy, and you need to be going in circular motions, in a buffing motion. A lot of times when you apply makeup, it's always a good idea to go in a buffing motion in any sense, because blending is key to foundation and eyeshadow. But yeah, that's really it for my first video. Let me just show you guys one more time. I tried to make this video not too long. I hope it's not unbearable in any way. These are all my eye brushes right here. If you have any more questions on these or any of my face brushes, please feel free to ask me. Like I said, makeup artistry is something I've just recently gotten into. It's becoming kind of just a hobby for me. Hair is where it's at for me anyway. That's where I really enjoy. These are all the face brushes. Once again, ask any questions, please feel free. But feel free to give me suggestions. I would really like to know what you as the viewer would like to see from me. I have a lot of knowledge, especially on hair, so please ask. That way I can come up with stuff and make not just a bunch of useless videos that nobody wants to watch. I hope this was at least a little bit helpful. Please visit eyeslipsface.com for all of these brushes, except my blending brush here from Sephora. Really a great website. I will be doing reviews and tutorials from other e.l.f. makeup and palettes. Thank you for watching, and I hope that I can give you more great videos in the future. Thank you very much.